Kazakhstan is one of the most multicultural countries in the world, consisting of representatives of more than 130 ethnic groups and nationalities. Each ethnicity has unique traditions, fantastic holidays, and fascinating history, as well as amazing recipes. Recipes for kindness and peace, and respect for our ancestors and other people's culture. This is Recipe for Friendship. Hello, this is Recipe for Friendship, and today we are going to meet our new friends. We will explore the culture of the German people living in Kazakhstan. So, how can I greet everyone in German?
Guten Tag, liebe Freunde. Sie sind heute unsere Gäste. Wir sind eine deutsche Gesangsgruppe zu Almaty. Also, herzlich willkommen zu unserer Chorprobe. Wir heißen Lebensfreude.
Well, let's sing.
Oh, Isabella, du bist mein Abendstern. Oh, Isabella, scheine für mich nicht so fern. Oh, Isabella, du bist mein Abendstern. Dich nur alleine hab ich im Herzen gern.
According to official data, there are about 130 different nationalities in our country, and Germans are in the 7th place. They are in the spot of today's episode. As usual, we're going to explore culture and traditions, meet interesting people, and learn some interesting information about German folklore. We are going to visit Improvising Shooters Festival.
Herzlich willkommen im deutschen Haus. Wir feiern heute Schützenfest.
We are going to learn the history of national costumes. The national German costume is called Dirndl. It consists of a blouse, a dress, and an apron. And as usual, we are going to prepare meals, which are often served on tables in our new friend's homeland. So the next step, I will put salami on the bread, and then the cheese. Then we can cut a tomato. We'll add it later, and then we'll fry an egg. Today's Recipe of Friendship helps us to get to know the culture of the nationality which has given the world such great personalities as Goethe, Schiller, Kant, Handel, Alexander Bloch, and many others. It is worth noting that according to statistics, half of Germans living outside of Germany mainly live in Europe. The territory of Kazakhstan is home to about 180,000 Germans, and this is a little more than 1% of the total population. The first Germans appeared here in the late 18th century, but most families were rooted here in the 1900s. The performance as a result of dispossession and repression. And in the German House exhibition organized in Almaty, the main exhibits are just about the objects of those years, times of relocation. What is typical, most of these books are mostly Bibles. It is impossible to determine the exact date of publication of many of them, but looking at the covers and pages, it's clear that they are several decades old. Someone could say they have no value, but for us, as for the guardians of German culture, for us, every such item has its own particular value. Every year, the company employees hold events on the search and collection of such items. They collect them literally bit by bit. Things like these are definitely valuable for their families, but they decided to give them to us so that more people could see them. All these plates, this is what we have managed to preserve. Everything is more than 60 years old. The books are even older. There are many other things in this small museum. For example, tablecloths and handmade napkins, which were handed down from generation to generation, and various household items. This artifact, which was given away as a gift to the museum, is still working. There is also a Soviet adding machine, which is still relevant. You can still really use it for counting. It counts quite complicated decimals, and you can do adding and subtraction. The Union of Public Associations of Kazakhstani Germans, called Revival, and other communities and clubs that are active in every city helps representatives of the ethnic group to get in touch with their roots and to communicate with each other. These organizations promote the language and preservation of cultural heritage and traditions. The association has an office. There are 20 more associations all over Kazakhstan which specialize in different areas. Culture, education, social work, youth, and also language. There is a network of meeting centers in 13 communities. Inside this society, people have the opportunity to find like-minded people and do the things that they love collectively. For example, to learn new aspects of handicrafts, to participate in performances, or to play musical instruments. Our new friends think that nothing can warm the soul like a song, and not too simple, but a folk song.
Oh, Isabella, du bist mein Abendstern. Oh, Isabella, scheine für mich nicht so fern. Oh, Isabella, du bist mein Abendstern. Dich nur alleine hab ich im Herzen gern.
Well, tell me now, what is this song about? I honestly didn't understand anything except Isabella and Lebe. This song says that we are not married yet, but our love is great. And as soon as we are married, nothing can stop the devil. She doesn't give me rest. And in the evening, she locks her room with a key. Isabella starts to educate him. She tells him, if you come home drunk, I'll put you in a sack of oatmeal, and I'll tie it up. And if you will ask me to let you out, I will tie the sack more tightly, and I will sit down on its top. When you hear it, it seems like such a romantic song, but as soon as you get it translated, you understand that it's a simple domestic drama. But he keeps singing, "Oh, Isabella, you're my evening star. Do not shine to me so far."
Mariana, komm, lass dich küssen, denn du sollst wissen, mein Schatz, dass ich dich von Herzen liebe. Denn du sollst wissen, mein Schatz, dass ich dich von Herzen liebe. Hey, yo! Hop, hop, hop! Hop, hey, hop! Hop, hey, yo! Hop!
Great! This song seems more positive, and you're dancing so cheerfully. How do you make such sounds? Courage and mood and nothing more. If there is no courage, it fails. It was the same on traditional German weddings. Such noise and creaking. Such people wanting to play the accordion and the violin. Everything was great. Now it's almost gone, but since my childhood, I remember how incredible those traditional German weddings were. I also tried to join the choral singing. There were no tragedies? With no tragedy, a very catchy song full of humor. It must be said that the German sense of humor is present everywhere. Even in school books, they are full of humor. Well, speaking about German humor, what is the main feature? Everyone knows that English humor is a bit gloomy, Caucasian, Georgian, or full of self-irony. But German? Has it got any features? German humor is impossible to translate into Russian. When you want to translate it, I mean that you need to learn the German language to understand the German humor. Well, as long as there are teachers still among us and people wishing to learn German, we will always have an opportunity to do it. Now let's sing about Suzanne. That colorful team hasn't occurred accidentally. In the beginning, activists just used to sing at feasts and festivals just for fun. But later, they started to do rehearsals.
Наша группа, вокальная группа, которая называется Lebensfreude, то есть радость жизни.
Our vocal group was created recently, 3 months ago. We are a young team in this regard.
Молодой в этом вопросе. Участвовали уже.
We have already participated in several concerts, such small events in our German house.
У нас в немецком доме мы выступали.
Our name is Lebensfreude, the joy of life. which means we still have a shot in the locker. And we can still be happy, thank God. By the way, the team is happy to admit anyone interested in the German culture, regardless of age. I want to speak to the young people.
Liebe Jungen, wir werden sehr froh, wenn Sie zu uns kommen und mit uns singen können.
Germans love holidays, and I must say that they can celebrate them properly. No other European country has so many holidays. Most of the representatives of other nations think that the main German holiday is loud and restless Oktoberfest. However, such stereotypes are probably the result of advertisements. The most long-awaited and important day of the year for the Germans, as well as for many other Catholics, is December 25th, Christmas. However, they have many other interesting holidays that have come from the medieval era. For example, every autumn they thank the earth for the harvest at the Erntedankfest, and they celebrate Easter in the spring. The carnival, which is celebrated after Valentine's Day in February, can compete with the Brazilian one. I had the opportunity to visit the modern reconstruction of a medieval German festival called Schützenfest.
Herzlich willkommen im deutschen Haus. Wir feiern heute Schützenfest.
Only a few people know that there are about 15,000 shooters communities in modern Germany. The majority of them were organized several hundred years ago for the defense purposes, but nowadays it is more of a tradition than a necessity. However, the Shooters' Day is still celebrated widely. In general, this holiday comes from Germany, and people started to celebrate it in the 15th century. Shooters were hunters in those days. They guarded their houses and their families. That's where this holiday came from. Every year, men in green coats with guns are hunting on a specially made wooden eagle. The Germans of Kazakhstan decided to join this tradition as well. Fortunately, no one was firing guns in the cultural center, and the competition was quite harmless. If we talk about the history, the Shooters' Day appeared in the 13th century in Germany. However, it was firstly celebrated in the modern way in the 17th century, in the Bavarian land. This holiday is always accompanied by music and a solemn march. Usually the procession of shooters and all the further actions are spent with the brass band sound, but unfortunately the rainy weather in Almaty that day did not let us do the traditional march. However, inside of the German house, it was full of fun and joy. Men and women and children competed in sharpshooting in all possible ways. Generally, the competitions are quite interesting. There's a variety of types of small arms. They are toys, but it's interesting anyway. I have participated in each competition. It's quite difficult to navigate how to shoot for the first time, because I haven't used all of these things before. These yellow ones are the most accurate, and the others let you rely on your luck. All these contests are not made just for fun. Each participant has his own sheet of achievements, according to which the best of the best will be selected. Traditionally, in the end of each festival, the competent jury selects the Koning, or the king, of shooters. The winner of the first Schützenfest in Kazakhstan was a woman. Her husband took the second place. The king and the queen of the holiday now have to wear this title until the next festival, when someone more accurate in shooting will win this honorable title. Today, I suddenly became the queen of shooters. I'm glad that I'm here today, and I want to thank everyone. And I pray that we will often spend this holiday and it will become a tradition. Thank you all. Exploring German culture, you cannot skip the German traditional clothes, because national clothes are an expressive attribute of the people's heritage. In Germany, the Frau and Fraulein still wear gladly colorful skirts and laced corsets for the celebration. And of course, modern costumes are quite different from the folklore ones. But the colors are a basic item which remained with no change over the years. The national German costume is called a Dirndl. It consists of a blouse, a dress, and an apron. The classic German suit should be 10 centimeters from the floor as the beer glass. The way the apron is tied is the main feature. It is important to pay attention to where is the bow. If the bow is in the middle in front, then it is an innocent girl. If it's on the right, it means that the woman is free. If it's on the left, the woman is engaged or already married. If the bow is tied to the back, it means that she is a widow. The male national costume consists of leather pants called lederhosen, shirt, a vest, a coat, feathered hat, and shoes with thick soles. And like women's aprons, the coat can say a lot about a man, more precisely its length. Traditionally, a married man wears a long coat, usually black, and bachelor's coats tend to be shorter, and the colors may vary. Speaking of the traditional German cuisine, we usually immediately think about smoked sausages and brown brezels. But the German cuisine is actually much more diverse. Germany is a gastronomically interesting country, not only due to the production of 1,500 different kinds of sausages and 600 varieties of bread. We should not forget that this country is the motherland of the famous cake called Black Forest, Lebkuchen, and Westphalian ham. So now, my dear, I invite you to get acquainted with German cuisine. And of course, as always I say, it is the most enjoyable part of any episode. So, meet Florian. Hello. Have you been here for a long time? Yes, it's been 2 years. You speak quite fluently, like it's been 20 years. It's from school. We had good teachers. Well, then today you'll be my teacher. What are we going to cook? We will prepare Strammer Max. And what does it mean? Well, Max is the name, and Strammer means rich, dense, and high-calorie food. Does it mean that some Max came up with such a high-calorie thing? Maybe you're right. I can't really explain the name. But this is a German dish? Yes, it is a German dish, yes. Well, here's a list of the ingredients. Here we can see cheese, salami, butter, eggs, vegetables, and bread. Yes, and I buy a special kind of bread, which reminds me of the German bread very much. Because we don't add salt and sugar to our dough. That's why I tend to buy only this kind of bread, no others. It reminds us of Borodino bread. Yes, I've tasted Borodino bread in Russia, but this is called Baltic for some reason. It tastes like my favorite kind of bread, Lithuanian bread. Well, where do we start? Firstly, I would put some oil into the frying pan, because we need to fry the bread. Good. We start cooking. Do Germans love high-calorie food? Well, I wouldn't say that we love it. It's just our traditional cuisine. And now we have a health problem because people don't have such an active lifestyle as we had in the past. But the foods remain the same. We eat the same way as we did 200 years ago. That's why we have such problems. So maybe you can name the product that can be called the foundation of German cuisine. For example, for French cuisine, they're bread, cheese, and wine. And what about German? Good question. My answer would be bread, sausage, and beer. Bread, sausage, and beer. Here is the basis of the right German diet. So the bread is Brot. Butter is butter. Ja, genau, die Butter. Is that an article? Yes, there's a female definite article. So does it mean that German language has different articles for each gender? Yes, and it is a main complexity, especially if you used to learn English and then you switch to German. So the next step, I will put the salami on the bread, and then the cheese. Then we can cut a tomato and put it there. And next, we need to fry an egg. While I'm preparing the vegetables, Florian has almost managed to finish. And what are you doing here in Kazakhstan? I teach German. Maybe you've heard about the organization called Goethe Institute, named after our great Goethe. They are located all over the world. They provide courses of German, as well as conducting a variety of cultural events. I plan to spend most of my important holidays for Germans, as well as Christmas Eve. You can join us if you want. The good sides of the recipe for friendship are interesting meetings and lots of invitations. Now I was invited to Christmas. Now we cover the bread, the cheese, and the salami with the tomato slices and put a fried egg on top. Now we have to arrange it. It has to be simple and fast enough, but also authentic. In a few minutes, we prepared a dish that is more difficult to pronounce than to cook. Well, we're done. The dish can now be served. How can I translate to served into German? Servieren. I think it comes from the French. They are great gourmets. Like the fact that despite the simplicity, there are enough ingredients and it can replace a whole lunch. Teach me the most important phrase, how to say enjoy your meal. Guten Appetit. Guten Appetit. Well, I'll go and learn German while you can try to cook this Strammer Max. That's how exciting and productive our meeting with the cuisine, culture, and traditions of representatives of the German people of Kazakhstan. And we can add another wonderful recipe for friendship to our list.